Hey, how's it going, guys? So today I'm going to actually be making a Clash Royale tier list, and honestly, I just went on CWA's channel, and I actually thought of this before I went on CWA's channel, but it was kind of funny because he hit me up and he's like, hey, do you want to rank the 20 best decks in the game? And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's going to be perfect because I'm going to make this car tier list video. So yeah, make sure to go check out my best 20 decks ranking on CWA's channel. I'm honestly excited because I kind of like talking about this. I'm a player, well, I'm a pro player if you don't know me. My name is Vulkan, and I play the game like so much. Like I probably average 6 hours, like more than 6 hours of either actually playing the game or just watching like gameplay. I would say easily 6 hours a day, honestly, for like the last 2 years. Well, maybe the last 1 year. I don't know, because I went to college before that. I've only actually been doing this like as a job for the last, was it? Yeah, a little over a year now, like a year and a half. I've been doing this like full time. So before I start though, let me explain my tier list. So I'm having Police Nerf at the top. Everything else is going to be like S tier is not necessarily nerf. It's like these cards could be nerfed a tiny bit and they still be viable. But I kind of like them where they are. A tier is going to be like balanced but good in this meta. B tier is like balanced but average in this meta. C tier is balanced or maybe a little bit on the weak side. You could buff them, you could show them some love. D tier is they probably need a buff. They're not very good, but you can make them work kind of. And then literally trash means that they're terrible and either they need to be deleted or they need a buff, but most of these, the cards you're going to see in the literally trash tier aren't really good for the game, so they probably shouldn't be buffed, and you probably shouldn't use them unless you really like them or you have them over leveled. So starting off, we're going to have Mirror. I'm sticking this in the D tier because it's not the best. You can kind of make it work in like, I don't know, Mirror Goblin Barrel decks, but it's pretty terrible. Heal is literally trash. There's really no reason to use heal. Let me just look at my notes. Oh yeah, so we're sticking these cycle cards in the A tier. They're pretty good. They're not game breaking. You're gonna see these in a lot of decks that you play. Actually, all the spells, we're sticking all the cycle cards and all the spells in the A tier. It was kind of tempting to put them in the S tier because they're really good, but I honestly think all these cards are perfectly balanced right now. Like, I really want to touch them. S tier could be touched and, be okay. But if you nerf any of these cards, they're probably not going to be that good. But right now, they're just really good in the meta, and I don't really want to see them changed at all. So Rage Spell is literally trash. Ice Golem goes to the A tier. Spear Goblins, this is a tough one. Let me look, because I had to think about it a little bit. Yeah, I'm sticking these in the B tier. They're good, but, they're not as good as Skeletons and Ice Spirit. They're just not quite there yet. Fire Spirits they're not unplayable. They're pretty bad. I think this was going to go in the C tier. Wait, no, just kidding. This is going to go in the B tier. They're pretty good. The bats are obviously going up in the A tier. They're strong. You see them in a lot of decks. I'm also playing arrows in A tier. They used to be like D tier, honestly. But arrows are viable now that they changed them. They kill archers, they kill wall breakers. They're really good versus Lava Hound. They're just, honestly, they're pretty solid overall. They're not broken. You're not going to see them in every deck. But they're a solid card. So next up here we have, where am I sticking Clone? Oh yeah, I'm sticking Clone. This is going to be the start of the C tier. This is like decks, they're not or cards. You can use them, but I want to go out of my way to use Clone unless you really like the card, and honestly not that many people like Clone, so not that many people use it. Well, Tornado decks are kind of pretty good right now, so an E-Golem kind of destroys Lava Clones. You're not seeing a lot of Lava Clone, but that's really the only deck, and then like Lava Giant Skeleton, but then they nerf the Witch, so you're just not going to see a lot of Clone in this meta. S tier is going to be Tornado. I think it's a really good card, really strong. You see it in like Golem, you see it in Graveyard, you see it in Elixir Golem, you see it in honestly every possible combination. So it's a good card, but I wouldn't change it. It's strong, but it's balanced. Minor, It's also strong, but it's good for the game. It's good for it to be strong. It's a really fun card. It's like CWA says, you know, it's a card. It just fits into a lot of archetypes. That's what makes it so good. But a miner isn't about to solo your tower, so you can defend it. Pretty high skill card. It's good for the game. So we're gonna stick Goblin Barrel in the C tier. And this is a card, it could honestly use a bit of a buff. But like, not a big buff. Just like a tiny buff, and I don't even know what that would be, so you probably just have to leave it. It's kind of viable. I don't know if it's good for the game to be, for Goblin Barrel to be like super strong. So I could see a rework for this card maybe down the road, but I don't even know what that would be. I don't think it's terrible, it's usable, so I honestly wouldn't even touch it if I was Clash Royale. I don't think Goblin Barrel is going to make the game better. Maybe some people really like Goblin Barrel, and you can still use it if you do. But, you know, it just is what it is. So we're sticking Tombstone down here. Yeah, the Goblin Cage is honestly just better than the Tombstone. There's really no other way to put it. If they were to, like, nerf the Goblin Cage, I think Tombstone would come back into the meta. But right now, Goblin Cage is just a little bit better. Cannon, they reworked it like a couple months ago, but honestly, it's not very good. Even in 2.6, like 2.6 isn't very good, so Cannon is questionable. The Skeleton Barrel, the only deck that it works in is like Mortar Bait and Mega Knight Bait, and that deck really isn't even that good. Like, some people kind of get high on it with Ladder, but they're not about to finish top 10 global. Like, Skeleton Barrel just isn't that good of a card. It's really easy to stop. Then we got, I'm sticking this up here, yeah. It's kind of interchangeable with the Spear Goblins. Like, if you want to have a better answer to Graveyard, you use Dark Goblin. If you're not facing a lot of Log, you're facing a lot of Barb Barrel, you use Dark Goblin. But if you're facing a lot of Log, you want to use Spear Goblin. So that's just kind of how it goes. We got Mega Minion. You know, it's A tier. Pretty good. Not broken. Princess, I think, is going down here. You know, like, what decks use Princess? The only thing is Log Bait. As you see, Goblin Barrel's down here too. So, yeah, not the best. You're not going out of your way to use Princess unless you really like it. You know, it's not that good. It's okay. It's usable, but it's not that good. I do like they changed like the attack speed. I think it's definitely viable. And all the cards in C tier are viable. The only cards that aren't really viable are D and literally trash tier. So I'm sticking Knight. I think I'm going to put this in the A tier. Let me see what conclusion. Nope. Put it in the B tier. Okay, so I have an explanation for Knight. Night Witch is kind of broken right now. Night Witch destroys Knight. So, oh, I accidentally scrolled down. That's not good. But I didn't stick anything in the police nerf section yet anyway. So, yeah, Night Witch kind of destroys Knight. So I think after Night Witch is actually nerfed, the Knight's going to become a lot more viable. But for now, I'm sticking it in the B tier because Night Witch is so meta. Now, you actually do see Knight in like one deck. You see it in the Graveyard Bomb Tower deck or like the Graveyard Tombstone deck. So it's usable. But yeah, it'll go to the A tier or even S tier after the Night Witch nerf, if they nerf it. If they don't, it's staying in the B tier. So we got the guards also going in the B tier. They're usable. You don't see anyone go out of their way to use them. So then next we got Goblin Gang and Archers. They're both really solid cards. They're not broken, you know. Archers are like, you honestly don't really see them that much. If you look at top ladder, you only see them in Expo. But I think they're actually pretty good. Like, in competitive, people use them in like Hog Earthquake. You can stick them in graveyard decks. Really, they're a pretty solid card. There's just some better options, which is why you don't see them necessarily as much. So we got Skarmy going down in the C tier. You know, they're good, but Zap kind of destroys them. So they just get zapped away and don't end up doing anything sometimes. So you can use them, and they're really good if your opponent doesn't have Zap. So then we got the Bomber going in the B tier. Man, this card used to actually be in like the literally trash tier, but recently people have been using Bomber, and it's been working pretty well. Especially because, you know, Elixir Golem's meta. It's pretty good versus Elixir Golem. But even before Elixir Golem, like, people are using it in Golem. Royal finished like, I don't know how high I finished. I think like top 20 global with Bomber Golem. So like, it's actually a pretty solid card now. You kind of, I think after they nerfed the Barb Barrel, some people use Bomber to like replace Barbarian Barrel, which is kind of interesting, but it's true. So then we have Minions. Minions, I really like in this meta. I would almost put them in the S tier. Like, they're really good. But the reason why is just because Graveyard is so popular, and they kind of destroy Graveyard, and also Balloon's pretty popular too, and they kind of destroy Balloon. So they're really solid in this meta. They could low-key go between S and A, but only because of the meta. They're not solid in every meta. Then Ice Wizard's going in S tier. I don't want to see an Ice Wizard nerf, but I mean the reality is Ice Wizard's just really strong. It's one of the best cards in the game. I really like it, and I think it's good for the game. So we have Bandit up next, which is also a really solid card. I don't want to see a nerf, but I think it's pretty strong. You see it in a lot of like Bridgepin decks, and it's just what it is a really good starting play, which is why I like it so much. It's never a bad play to start a Bandit in the back. So next we have, I think I'm sticking Royal Ghost in the, yeah, there we go, in the B tier. And, I mean, it's good, but it's not as good as Bandit. Okay, so I had to change things up a little bit because I was running out of room on the bottom of the screen. Freeze is going in the D tier, you know, it's usable, but yeah, you're not going to go out of your way to use Freeze. It's pretty bad if we're being realistic. So Fireball is going to go in the A tier. Pretty much all the spells are going in the A tier. Spells are really good. I think the reason I'm not sticking them in the S tier, they low-key go in the S tier, is because they're balanced. You would never touch any of these spells. I think all of them are like perfect, honestly. I wouldn't change anything. Even like Snowball and Barbarian Barrel are pretty perfect right now. And arrows are, honestly, they're perfect, like just how they are. So I just wouldn't change them, which is why they're not going in the S tier. Like cards in the S tier could be changed, but I think they're good for the game to be strong. They're good, fun cards to play. They're not like annoying to face. So Poison is also another spell that is going in the A tier. Tesla, it's one of the better buildings right now. You know, it's better than Cannon and it's better than Inferno Tower. And other than Bomb Tower, is the only, well, speaking of Bomb Tower, we're going to stick that in the A tier too. Because those are like the two buildings that like target other things besides Modern Expo. They're just really good right now. You can kind of stick them in pretty much any deck and they'll be viable. But Bomb Tower especially is good right now just because of Elixir Golem. And then it's like not terrible versus everything else, but if you get Elixir Golem, you kind of hard counter it, which is just why Bomb Tower is so meta right now. So Furnace is... it's going to go in the B tier, and honestly, I would just say because it's not really that good versus Elixir Golem. So once they nerf Elixir Golem, Furnace might go back into the A tier, but Bomb Tower is like low-key, you wouldn't think they're the same thing, but I mean, they kind of are. They kind of both have splash damage, they're both 4 Elixir. Bomb Tower is just a little bit better than Furnace right now. But that could change. That could definitely change. So Mortar's going to go in the A tier. Pretty good card. Not broken. I think perfectly balanced. Just leave it how it is. Hunter is going in the B tier, you know, not the best, not the worst. Fire Machine, same. Mini P.E.K.K.A is actually, you're seeing a lot in this meta. What's even the reasoning? I guess it's just better than Lumberjack now. You used to see a lot of Lumberjack, now you see a lot of Mini P.E.K.K.A. Kind of that simple. I mean, they buffed it a couple times, but I think after the Lumberjack nerfs, Lumberjack's just a little bit better. So Musketeer. Man, Musketeer has been in the S tier for a long time. It's honestly just one of the best cards in the game. It's really good in cycle decks. It's just really solid. Ever since they nerfed the 3 Musketeers and they buffed the Musketeer, Musketeer has just been so good in the game. Dark Prince is going to go in the B tier. I was thinking about it. I was like, shouldn't Dark Prince be really good? Because, you know, so much splash damage is in the meta. And Dark Prince is a really good splash damage. But... And you would think it'd be really good versus like Elixir Golem, but honestly, I don't think it is that good versus Elixir Golem. And in previous metas, it might even have been an A tier, but there's something about this meta. Dark Prince is just... I think Valkyrie is just better than Dark Prince. I think that's what it is. And so you're just seeing a lot of Valkyrie and not a whole lot of Dark Prince. And speaking of Valkyrie, we'll just take that up there and we'll stick it in the S tier. Valkyrie's pretty good right now. I don't think it needs a nerf. I think it's literally just because of the meta. Just because... it's so strong versus Elixir Golem, and I think that's why you're seeing it so much. So I think it actually might go out of the S tier after, or if they nerf Elixir Golem, but for now, Valkyrie's just a really solid card to have in your deck. Did they nerf Inferno Dragon in the past? I don't know, but... no, I think I know what it is. I think it's that Musketeer is just kind of better than Inferno Dragon now. It would actually come back into the meta if they nerf the Musketeer, but for right now, it's in the B tier. Magic Archer is another S tier card. Now, this is a card, I like the Magic Archer, but a lot of people would say, and I kind of agree, it could use a little bit of nerf. Not a lot of bit of a nerf, just a little bit. They like buff the damage, I think it just does a little bit too much damage. But I don't think it's oppressive. I don't think it's bad for the game. It has counters, so I wouldn't complain if they don't nerf it. I wouldn't complain if they nerfed it. I personally like the card, so I'm fine where it is. Zappies are pretty bad. Yeah, I'm putting them all the way down in the D tier. They need a buff. Their first attack just takes way too long. I would love to see Zappies get a buff. Hog Rider is... Now you guys, if you're in lower arenas, or just in like a normal person arena, not top 200 arena, you're probably going to see a lot of Hog Rider, and it's a pretty good card. And I think a lot of the reasoning there is just because it's easy to level up, easy to use, easy to understand how to play. You're not playing it first play is a good move, so you don't like, it's not that hard to play really. But like in the competitive meta, there's so much tornado and like on top ladder that, and like in tournament standard, it's pretty easy to counter the Hog Rider if you have the right cards, which most decks do. So not really that big of an issue, but it's usable. Baby Dragon is also going to go in the S tier. They actually nerfed it a couple months ago, so I would not want to see another, no, not like, yeah, a couple months ago. So I wouldn't want to see another Baby Dragon nerf. I think it's perfect how it is right now, but it's still strong. You can still fit it into a lot of decks, especially because it's good versus Night Witch. You're going to see it quite a bit. So Night Witch is going in the please nerfed category. I want to see a one bat nerf to Night Witch. I think it's too strong. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. It's just like a little bit too strong, you know. I think you take away one bat, it maybe goes to the S or the A tier. I think Night Witch overall is good for the game. It's fun to play, but it's just a tiny bit strong right now. Like, you shouldn't really be able to stick Night Witch in, I don't know, bridge spam and it be viable. Or maybe you should, but yeah, it just does a little bit too much damage. It just makes Golem like a little bit too strong. And that's why you see a lot of cards like Baby Dragon and Ice Wizard are so strong in the meta. And also, it's too strong with Elixir Golem. Like, maybe if you nerf Night Witch, even Elixir Golem would become worse. I think the reason why Night Witch is so oppressive is just because it's like, you have to have an answer for Night Witch. You can't even run decks like 2.6 anymore just because Night Witch kind of destroys them. You can't run Hog Earthquake because Night Witch destroys it. I think it just boxes some decks out of the meta, which is what I don't really like about it. Next, we got Battle Ram. Battle Ram has seen a better day. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. I don't think it needs a buff necessarily. I think the support cards with Battle Ram just aren't that good right now. So, Battle Ram's not the best. Prince isn't good. Lumberjack isn't good. Well, they're not bad, but, you know, Lumberjack is going in the same tier as Battle Ram. You see a buff to Lumberjack, you see a buff to Prince. You even see a buff to P.E.K.K.A. You're going to see Battle Ram come back into the meta a lot, but for now, Battle Ram's in the B tier. But I don't think they should change it. I think if anything, change the support cards, or don't change it. Like, it'll come back into the meta eventually, just not this meta. So going up in the A tier also is the Electro Wizard. Pretty good. Not as good as Musketeer. Really that simple. Also going up in the A tier is going to be the Graveyard. It's a solid win condition. One of the best win conditions in the meta. But you can counter it. So it's okay. Inferno Tower is going in the B tier ever since they nerfed it. Inferno Tower used to be S tier. Man, I like the Inferno Tower meta. I thought it was a lot of fun, but it also was overpowered. So I'm fine where Inferno Tower is at right now. I think it's still viable. You can use it. It still counters Golem pretty well. But yeah, Tesla's just a little bit better. So is Bomb Tower. Okay, so the Executioner going in the C tier. Man, I mean, it was like please nerf tier like a little bit ago. But they nerfed it, and now it's still usable. Still usable, definitely in a couple decks, but it's not broken. It's still good versus Lava Hound. I think that's the main thing. But even then, it can't be your only Lava Hound counter. Like, you kind of need two cards that counter like air troops. It's not enough. I still would like to see a tiny bit of a buff to Executioner, but not honestly. I would like to see a damage buff, but not to the level that they had it before. Just like a 5% buff or something like that. I would have no problem with that. Just so that, I think right now it's not enough to counter Lava Hound, which is why it's kind of annoying. It's not really enough to counter a Golem. So I think it needs a little bit more damage for that, but it's still really good versus Splash Troops. Okay, so Barbarians are going up in the A tier. I am officially out of room, so we're just gonna move down the please nerf tier, and we'll come back to that later. at the end of the video probably. So we have Prince also going in the B tier. It used to be A tier or even S tier, but they nerfed it a while ago, so it's just like average. Playable, not broken, but yeah, ever since the range nerf and they changed all the statistics, it's not the best, not the worst. Bowler is really pretty bad, honestly. That's going down in the C tier, which is terrible. Like, it's terrible, but you can use it, but it's terrible. Royal Hogs going in the B tier, especially because of the bomb tower. I think they actually might go up to the A tier after Elixir Golem's nerfs and not everyone's running bomb tower in their deck, or maybe they keep running bomb tower, it's still going to stay there, but for now it's going in the B tier. Cannon Cart is also going in the C tier, actually. Cannon Cart could use some love. I don't even know what it is. It's just, yeah, I think it's like what people say. It's not, say someone plays a Hog Rider and you play Cannon Cart. Cannon Cart, like the Hog Rider still gets 3 hits or something. It just doesn't do enough damage. But the problem is, it's really hard, like, to stop on offense, but it's terrible on defense. So that's kind of why Cannon Cart is going there. I don't know how, but I got my screen to go bigger, so we're just gonna roll with it. So Ram Rider is gonna go in the B tier. Kind of, man, it could it go to the A tier? I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it's impressive. I think it's okay. You can counter it. Some people think it's impressive. Some people hate Ram Rider. But I personally have no problem with it, especially if you have like Electro Wizard or a building. It's not really going to break through that building, so I don't think that is that big of an issue. And most decks have Electro Wizard or a building, so the only time you're going to really struggle against Ram Rider is if you don't have a building, you don't have Electro Wizard, and you don't have a small spell like Zap, Snowball, or Log. Any other deck can kind of counter it pretty easily. You're going to see some people are able to, you know, still use Ram Rider because you can outplay people who have counters. But, I mean, you can say that about any deck. Okay, so Goblin Hut is going to go in the D tier. What do I even say about Goblin Hut? It's just not the best. To be honest, you can use it. I mean, you can technically use any of the cards in the D tier. But Furnace is just a little bit better. But if you want a deck that has, like, 2 furnaces, then your best option is to run Goblin Hut. That's a spawner deck. You don't want to run Barbarian Hut. Barbarian Hut's terrible, but Goblin Hut's still good. So, Giant's gonna go up in the B tier. And I don't think they should buff Goblin Hut either. Like, it's fine. It's not really good for the game to be strong. And you can still use it if you really like it. Goblin Hut's gonna go in, Giant's gonna go in the B tier. Not the best win condition. The thing about Giant is you also need a miner if you're going to run Giant. It doesn't really work by itself, or a Graveyard, or a Sparky. You kind of need 2 win conditions, which is fine. I don't think Giant needs a buff. You still see it used a lot, but it's not like OP. So Balloon is going to go up in A tier. It's really good. Balloon's really good, but it's not OP. Electro Dragon is going to go down in the B tier, I think. Yep, it is. You actually see it could low-key go in the A tier just because of one deck. There's one deck in the meta, Elixir Golem, that runs Electro Dragon because it combos really well with Healer. But as soon as they nerf Elixir Golem, as soon as they nerf Healer, it's not going to be seen that much. And you only see it in one deck, so I'm not really that worried about Electro Dragon. It's fine. It could honestly use a buff, if anything. But I think it's fine where it is. So we're going to take away our please nerf tier. Come back to that later again. We have Minion Horde in the B tier. Ever since they nerfed even before they nerfed the deploy time. Like, it's fine. It's good. Not OP. If you don't have an answer to it, it's pretty OP. But as long as you have arrows or Zap or Snowball or Wizard or Baby Dragon or anything, you can counter it just fine. You got Rascals up in the A tier. Honestly, Rascals used to be S tier, but they kind of nerfed Rascals, like the deploy time, the health, and I don't even know what all they nerfed. But they nerfed it, so it's still really good, but it's not S tier anymore. Wizard is pretty bad. We're gonna stick it down in the D tier, and we're gonna make our S tier go away a little bit. We'll come back to the S tier, don't worry. We have Rocket going in the D tier, B tier. It's actually one of the it doesn't need a buff or anything. It's balanced, but in this meta, it's not all that great. Actually, it's a little bit worse now also because it doesn't counter Expo as well as it used to ever since they gave the Expo the buff. So it kind of has lost its effectiveness to a certain degree. It was really good last meta because Executioner was so strong. You could just rocket the Executioner. But in this meta, there's really nothing you need a rocket for. So it's kind of just, it's okay. You know, you want to spell cycle someone, it does the job, but you don't need it in your deck. So you got Lightning though. It's the better 6 Elixir spell right now in this meta. You know, it kills the Electro Dragon, which you're seeing a lot. Kills any like building. It kills Electro Wizard, Musketeer. It kills a lot of things, so it's pretty good on offense. Not really a defensive spell. It's an offensive spell. We got Elixir Pump going down in the D tier. It's a pretty bad card. I mean, yeah, you can use it in 3 Musketeers, but that's about it. We got Expo going up in the A tier, I think. Yep, putting it in the A tier. Because ever since they gave it that, you know, the buff on the health, it's just really strong. I don't think it needs a nerf, but it's pretty strong. I mean, you can counter it. There's cards like Earthquake that can counter it. Giant, all the minor decks, you can pretty easily beat an Expo player, so not that big of a deal. You only see like amazing Expo players doing really well with it on ladder. You see it a lot in the mid-level arenas, so probably a lot of you guys see it a lot, like an average player. Or, I mean, really, you see a lot everywhere, but it's not OP. It's fine. It could take a tiny nerf and be fine. It definitely couldn't take a buff. A buff that would be insane. But I think it's okay where it is, or like a tiny, just revert the HP nerf. But even then, I don't think it's necessary. Sparky is gonna go in the B tier. Man, that felt weird. Sparky was so bad for a long time. I was like, I'm going to put this card in the D tier. And I'm like, wait a second. Sparky's actually not that bad. I mean, it's not. Sparky's not that bad. Not that good. Not that bad. Goblin Giant's going to go in the B tier. Same thing. It actually works well with Sparky. Not that good. Not that bad. E-Barbs are literally trash unless you have them over-leveled. Otherwise, they're trash. Giant Skeleton is... You actually saw it a couple metas ago. It comboed really well with the Witch. So you saw a lot of Giant Skeleton. It also is really good versus Fisherman. So you saw a lot of Giant Skeleton, but neither of those are meta. So Giant Skeleton is in the C tier. Not that good in the meta. Pretty bad. But you can use it. Royal Giant's going to go in... Man, where did I put Royal Giant? This was a tough one. Royal Giant for a while, I think it still is S tier, honestly. But I think the thing is, Elixir Golem is just better. So as soon as, or if they nerf Elixir Golem, Royal Giant's probably going in the S tier for me, if I'm being completely honest. But right now, all the Royal Giant players are just playing Elixir Golem. Barpud is literally trash. They nerfed it like, who knows how long ago. Less than a year ago, I think. Maybe even more than a year ago, honestly. But ever since then, it's been pretty bad. Mega Knight's going to go right up there in the A tier. Mega Knight is really strong. Especially, it probably was in the B tier before. But since they nerfed P.E.K.K.A, P.E.K.K.A doesn't hard counter Mega Knight anymore. So now, or kind of, I don't even know, honestly. Whoever, the thing is, if P.E.K.K.A crosses your side of the bridge, Mega Knight's going to win. But if Mega Knight crosses their side of the bridge, then the P.E.K.K.A is going to win. So Mega Knight and P.E.K.K.A are like on a pretty equal level. I would honestly think Mega Knight's better than P.E.K.K.A right now, but probably not enough to be in the S tier. Or it low-key is. Mega Knight's pretty good in the meta. I like it a lot. But it still doesn't do like insane DPS versus a Golem or a Royal Giant. So that's why it's staying in the A tier for me. So Royal Recruits they're viable. You saw them a lot in the Fisherman meta because they were good against Fisherman. And Fisherman was broken. But now it's not broken. So, man, I put that low. I put that lower than Giant Skeleton. But I think it's true. I don't think there's any reason to run Royal Recruits right now. Lava Hound is going to go up in the A tier. It is so good with Night Witch. That's the truth. Period. End of story. Good with Night Witch. Golem, Night Witch. Hello. Low-key, these could go up to the S tier. But if they nerf Night Witch, going down to the A tier, and I think they're still okay in the A tier. I don't think you can say just because Night Witch is good, Golem and Lava Hound are broken also. I think they're fine. And Musketeers are going down in, just kidding, in the C tier. They buffed them. Did they even buff them? I think it was a buff. They changed it so they don't all deploy at the same time, which is really weird. I guess it's not really that weird. A lot of cards do that. But yeah, it's still not enough to make them super good. Now, there's some cards that weren't on the app that I'm using, or the website that I'm using. So, Fisherman, I'm sticking down with my magical editing in the literally trash tier. Boop. In the literally trash tier, I'm putting the Elixir Golem in the please nerf tier. And I am putting the Goblin Cage. Oh, wait, let me talk about that first. Fisherman needs a buff. Please buff Fisherman. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. It does, there's no reason to use a Fisherman. But I like Fisherman, but something needs to change there. It's terrible. Elixir Golem needs to be nerfed. It's too strong. We're going to put Healer up there in the nerf. It's too strong. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. I don't think you should kill Elixir Golem or Healer, but they're too strong. Just like I don't think you should kill Night Witch. I think you should just nerf it a little bit. It'll go down to the A or the B or the S tier. I think that's completely fine, but I think that it needs a bit of a nerf right now. And then Goblin Cage is going to go in the A tier. They nerfed it a while ago. It used to be S tier, but right now it's good. It's like the better Tombstone. Pretty good, not broken. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, what did you think of my video? Did you agree with my list? Did you disagree with my list? This is a list for kind of like for tournament standard. That's what we're gonna say this list is for. So don't get mad at me if you think elite barbarians are S tier, because I'm not talking about over leveled elite barbarians. I'm talking about elite barbarians that are the same level as all of your troops. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed my video, and Vulkan out.